Hello and welcome back to channel 7th Blue Star. This is part 2 of today's two-part conclusion to the three-part trilogy concerning trauma and how to deal with it. We left off last time talking about light and the transformative energy released as we realize we have a source of light within us. Now, I may be dressed in this funny getup, but it's for illustrative purposes. What you see before you are primary colors: yellow, red, and blue. Primary colors are quite fascinating. What I like to think of as yellow representing the sun and star energy beyond us. Blue represents the sky and the sea below us. Red represents us, physical beings, trapped somewhere in between the two colors. Interestingly, different colors, for those of us able to see colors, different colors bring on different moods. Lots of songs have been written about what different colors do to our mood. Of course, there's the blues, and many songs relating to the blues, which are a way of soothing us. That's what the blues are about. Whether it's a mood indigo or some other blue reference, blue's important. Then we have songs that relate to red. There was a Sammy Hagar album entitled Red back in the 70s, and many other references to red. There's also references to yellow and what I call the sun, like Beatles songs, Here Comes the Sun, etc. All of these songs help to relate us to these colors, which help to move our moods along a mood scale, a lateral mood scale. So, as we realize we have an inner light, that light itself can be broken into various wavelengths, just like visible light. So just like I can take off a layer and expose a different color, red from blue, and now peel off another layer, we have blue again. Lost the sun on top anyway. That's for illustrative purposes. What I'm saying is there's many layers to your inner light. The more you get to know them, not just their brilliance, but their varying colors, the more you'll realize you have more than a rainbow of colors in you. Now, I'd like to have a sip of this evening's tea. This is a blend called PG Tips. It's a British blend. I've been partial to PG Tips after physical exertion like cycling, hence the cycling clothes. Anyway, I love PG Tips. It's not meant to be a cheap plug, but PG Tips used to do commercials, I think they still do, with chimps. There we go. There he is. There's Kevin. He's one of the spokespeople for PG Tips. We laugh every time we see chimps because they're 99% like us, DNA-wise, etc. And I still laugh every time I have a cup of PG Tips because I think of chimps and our primal nature, and how wonderful that primal nature is to relate to, especially through the great apes, whether they're chimps or orangutans or gorillas. Anyway, that's why we're so fascinated by the great apes. I think we see ourselves in them, and I think some great apes are able to communicate even better than some humans at times, and some great apes may even be more in touch with their conscious energy light better than some humans at times. Anyway, not to put us humans down, because we pretty much have unlimited potential. So back to the light thing, and the different colors of light and how they affect us, and how to use the different colors of light uh, to heal ourselves from the inside out, and as I'll move into, uh, how we can actually use light energy to help others heal themselves. That's the kind of healing that seems to amaze people even more than the inner healing process, because that can be more personal. Although it's probably most important, the inner healing process, because one needs to understand how that works before we humans can use energy in its light form to help others realize how to heal themselves and how to jumpstart their healing processes through Reiki and things like this. It's, once again, it's not a parlor trick. It's the real McCoy. It's the real deal. Anyway, so moving forward with the colors and how they affect our moods differently. Let's just take red and blue to start with. Here, blue. Well, since you're looking at blue, let's concentrate on blue for a minute. Blue seems to soothe us. It's the sea around us and the sky above us. There's a reason some blue is called celestial blue. It kind of calms us, helps us touch into our inner wisdom. Blue is the color of chill. You know, as you get physically colder, you actually become blue as you start to freeze. Anyway, blue is a chill color. Tends to keep you from doing as many irrational things right away. Not just in humans, but in animals too. There's a reason that the matador, for lack of a better analogy, waves a bright red or yellow or orange tunic in front of the bull. The red excites the bull. If the matador were to wave blue in front of the bull, chances are the bull wouldn't charge. The bull might think it's a pool of water and it's not ready for a swim, so it won't charge the water, or it won't try to fly up into the sky. That's what it sees as blue. Although bulls do see visible light much like we do, and cows, any bovine. Anyway, that's the calming effect of blue, and the blue state that we can consciously visualize while we close our eyes. And that's that, coupled with careful rhythmic breathing, can calm us down very quickly. Now let's take the other end of the particular analogy of light spectrum. Go back to red. Red, as in seeing red, makes us think, more passion, more action, more impulsiveness, etc., etc. Red can create many emotions in us: anger, aggression. You see where I'm going with this? Red tends to bring out another side of us that may be much different than what blue does. So, if you want to make your own analogy as far as red and blue states, mental inward, although it might go outward too, feel free to do so. So, the last color I'd like to talk about and how it deals with healing us is yellow. Yellow is kind of what we see when we look in pure light. It's a form of yellow. If we were to look at a very strong light source that includes all the color spectrum, we need to tone down the brightness a little bit, which makes it more yellow. Whether it's the sun we look at, or not directly, hopefully, or whether we are looking at the colors of the light energy inside us, yellow represents a solar plexus area. Coincidentally, that's what chakra points to as well. And the yellow, of course, moves into the green, the heart area, which is the transition to the blue area. Just in a nutshell, anyway. So yellow resides between the red and the blue energies in us, as it does in a rainbow, etc., because it's more of a balanced color. There's many colors in between red and blue. Actually, you mix the two and you get a purple, which has its own transforming effect. It includes red and blue, mostly equal parts. Anyway, transformative effects of energy, the healing aspects of energy, are analogized, if that's even a word, by colors. That's the best way of us realizing the different levels of energy, even if they're levels of energy that are beyond our visible light spectrum. Okay. Our eyes can actually see visible light, generally. And as we know, by sending light through a prism, light's composed of various different colors. Well, there's other energy, light energy, that we may be receptive to, and those light energies that we may be receptive to are the light energies that are inside of us. Coincidentally, there is an eye-like gland, organ, within our brains. It rests at the top of our brain stem, very much kind of between our brain stem, top of our spine, and our actual brain. This particular gland is called the pineal gland. It's called that because it looks like a little pine cone. Well, the pineal or pineal or whatever you want to call it, gland, is a very important part of our interior physiology. It's also called the third eye by some because it's sensitive to other forms of energy that our physical eyes can't see, visible light. These energies that it sees and helps to regulate are the subtle energies, light energies that travel up and down our spine. These energies that travel up and down our spine actually light up the energy in the brain that sits atop our spine. As we learn to invigorate our inner energies and ramp them up, as many yogis have passed down to us, not just yogis, but great masters of personal inner energies anyway. What these great masters have learned to do, and it's kind of how they learn how to go beyond their physical beings, whether it's through levitation or whether it's using light energy to actually jumpstart someone else's light energy, which is a healing process, or whether it's looking into the future, future possibilities in dream state, trance state. It all operates on the subtle energies going up and down the spine and connecting to our brain. And the better we get this energy flowing along our spine, that's why we do a lot of physical yoga. It's becoming very, very popular here in the West. It helps to light up our brain. And we use oxygen, careful breath, to supercharge that light energy that we are trying to invigorate in our bodies. So that pineal gland that's at the top of our spine, actually it's in our brain at the top of our spine, very centrally located. It's kind of like how the sun is at the center of our solar system and all of us are just spinning around it as planets. That pineal gland is is crucial in the link between our spine energy and our brain energy. Much like the sun is important to all the bodies that orbit it in our solar system. So if we don't address the inner energy that we have, back to the cave analogy of the last broadcast, if we find ourselves retreating further and further back into the cave and seeing less and less light at the end of the tunnel, which is the cave opening, we are unable, or we become more conservative in our thought about going out back into the light. We figure, well, we're happy here, we don't need to go out into the light again because we found a happy place of light inside ourselves. That's okay, but generally speaking, once you've realized the light inside yourself, that you've come to realize better, living in the darkness of the cave and the tunnel. You feel compelled to want to share that experience with other people. And since you're all alone in the cave, probably, that might motivate you to start working your way out of the cave into the light generated outside our bodies by the sun. So if we choose to stay in the cave, we tend to become more conservative. And eventually, sometimes the light that we experience inside ourselves starts to dwindle for one reason or another. Usually it's a physiological effect of not being out in physical sun. So we do start to deteriorate. Some people become detached to the outside light so much, and sometimes they are not completely aware of the capacity of their inner light, that as they sit in their cave and their inner light starts to perhaps dwindle, they become more sad. Their thoughts shift from positive light energy to less positive light energy. And if you keep going down that path, you end up receding further and further into the tunnel until there's no light from the outside and less light from the inside being generated. And this is the point of feeling that one gets with extreme conservative tendency, which leads itself to fundamentalism, which is a very, very, very extreme form of conservative thought, because you're trying to conserve the last little bit of light that you can see in the tunnel. So you're trying to conserve it more and more. This ultra-conservatism that breeds fundamental thought has gotten us into trouble as humans on our planet. And we need to realize that no matter how little energy we may feel being generated at our core being as we sit in the darkness of the tunnel, no matter how small a light that is, it can be boosted once more. And it can be boosted by consciously transpiring the oxygen that we are breathing in and out. And as we breathe in and out more consciously, that light will begin to burn brighter. Just like fanning the flame. You put more oxygen onto that light or flame and it will burn brighter. So don't be too desperate. Don't despair too much. Even if you can't see the light in yourself anymore, it's still there. It's just waiting to be fanned. And then it comes back. There's always an ember burning. And we can relate to it as long as we're breathing, as long as we're alive. So don't be afraid of the light, right? Before I started this broadcast right now, I was listening to Led Zeppelin. There was a song off an album. Album was entitled Physical Graffiti, and the song that I was listening to as loudly as I could stand it was a song called In the Light. And if you have the opportunity to find that online and listen to it, it might help what I've just shared with you ring a little more true. So, I think I can add a little more to how light transforms us and heals us, and how we can help others find it in themselves and jumpstart their light by fanning it or otherwise. The healing process, I'll explain a little more of the exterior healing process, how we can help people heal themselves once we've learned how to do it ourselves. So that's what we'll talk about next time. I know this was going to be a trilogy, but we'll call it an epilogue to the trilogy next time. And in the meantime, remain in the light. Because even when it's dark outside, it's light inside. So, remain in light. That was a Talking Heads album. Another good album to listen to if you get the chance. Anything that helps us relate to the light that's in us and its infinite capacity is a good thing. So, we'll sign off for now. Wow, I've really kind of rambled on here, but I think you get my drift, because you understand yourself better than you're giving yourself credit for. And that's what this is all about, folks. So, from Blue Star to U Star, peace and namaste. Stay tuned to yourself.